We got one more Cuomo versus Smith clip to get into. This one is not COVID related, but I thought this was a good little monologue that Dave went on regarding the end of the United States empire. Because, you know, Dave Smith is a libertarian. I do not agree with Dave Smith on everything, certainly. But in terms of foreign policy, his anti-Israel stances have been great. Here's a great monologue that he goes on here.
We're in a collapsing empire right now, and that's our job is to try to right this ship. But we're in a late stage empire, and that's what America is. And this rarely comes up in corporate media, but the USA is the most powerful empire in the history of the world, and we are the global empire right now. But we're in the very late stages of that with all of the characteristics of a late stage empire. And what are those characteristics? Being way too expanded militarily, being very, very far in debt, and then what ultimately happens after that? The culture devolves into decadence. And that's why things are dumber than they've ever been before. And that's why, you know, you have people, whether it's like a gay pride parade where two guys are like slapping their butt cheeks together and then they're going, we're standing up for our rights. Like, no, you're not. You're not fighting for rights. This is decadence. When you see, if you look back at, say, like William F. Buckley's firing line, when it would be William F. Buckley going at it with Gore Vidal, okay, well, just the level of intelligence there between that and like Sean Hannity going at it with Don Lemon, no offense. There's been a significant fall off. And I think that's what's going on all throughout the country. And what's happening is that the most powerful people are trying to pit us against each other so that we're constantly fighting in a culture war so that we never all get together and realize that, you know what the left wing and the right wing of the culture war have in common? Both of their dollars been destroyed by the Federal Reserve. Okay? But that never gets covered on CNN. You know what I mean? Like I never see like a big segment about that. Hey, how come all those years having the #1 CNN show, not one segment about the secrecy of the Federal Reserve, the secrecy of the CIA? Instead, all we get from the corporate media is, I don't know, the unvaccinated, the Trump supporter, the Biden supporter, pitting Americans against each other and all the while blaming the American people for these problems. When that's just not true. Most of the American people are good people. They want to take care of their family, go to work, be a member of their community, try to give their kids a little bit more than they had. That's what, and if we had a better media in this country, they would be laser focused on the halls of power and how corrupt they are. Because man, is there a lot of corruption going on at the top here.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah, so that was pretty well said. He kind of blew it by not running. You know, I mean, that's a message that could rack you up quite a few votes.
Is there any word on why he didn't run?
He just kind of dragged his feet, and then I guess, you know, he's a family man. He's he's probably about my age. He's probably got kids my age. You know, it takes a lot of time to run for president. I don't think I could find the time to run for president either. But no, I mean, extremely well said. I mean, that hit just about everything there.
Yeah. I really appreciated him hitting on the divisiveness of these culture war issues, which, you know, that's something I've been harping on ever since the douchebag dialogues. How, you know, they just have us fighting each other on these things while they gallop off with all the money stuffed in their saddlebags into the sunset, and we're fighting over fucking pronouns and all this bullshit. This is something we got into a little bit with Anya from more of a left point of view. It has been so long that the idea of an expansion of sexual expression has been synonymous with leftism that it's really not even questioned, even by a lot of people who are legitimately economic leftists who legitimately believe in a left economic program. They never question the idea that endlessly expanding sexual boundaries until you're normalizing BDSM and speaking out on kink shaming, that maybe that's a form of capitalist consumerism, this endless expansion of choice and this sending people down this rabbit hole of endless sexual experimentation in place of meaningful personal fulfillment.
Yeah, not just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, not just endless experimentation, but an endless expression
Right.
of your desire to push the bounds further. That's where it becomes a more political act, because that kind of self-expression substitutes for an actual like political goal,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's a politics of self-expression. Your politics is all about how you present yourself to the world, which is really not politics. It's really not politics. And of course that escalates at the end of Empire, because at the end of Empire, the trajectory of the society becomes irreversible and unchangeable, because you're just in a downward spiral. Where else can you go? That's why he's saying we're trying to right the ship. And this is where, I try to fight that sort of accelerationist impulse, but it's hard because my rational brain can't help but thinking there is no righting the ship. There is no righting the ship. That's why I thought those Bernie Sanders campaigns were as important as they were. It's not out of a slavish devotion to Bernie Sanders, but I saw in them an opportunity to perhaps right the ship before we got in this irreversible spiral, and now we're there.
Yeah, I used to call it America's Hail Mary pass.
A Hail Mary pass, right, exactly.
It was a last-minute attempt to save the trajectory of the country. But this is part of why, to tie into the fundraiser that we're doing, tomorrow? Is that tomorrow? Wow, that's fucking tomorrow. I can't believe that already. Yeah. That's insane. This is gonna be a crazy week, man. Mm-hmm. Part of why we're supporting Jose, or speaking for myself, I think that part of the reason for that decadence is, as what you're saying indicates, it's a lack of purpose and direction, and it's a lack of hope. I actually was speaking to my daughter about this, and she said for people her age, they can't get a house. It's very difficult to really build a meaningful career and financial security. So yes, they've taken up like what they feel like they can control, this self-expression as something they have some kind of say in. Whereas society has become such an impersonal dystopia to them that they just don't feel like they can meaningfully impact it. We have to change that. Otherwise, it's, leather daddies as far as the eye can see.
Yeah. Indeed.
Please clap.